What's going on, guys? The Front Three is back for episode 2 of the day. We have just less than an hour and a half now before the transfer deadline is over. Obviously, we'll have deals flittering in after that, and that's why we have our next show between 10:30 p.m. and 11:30 p.m. So that last hour, half an hour after it too, to diagnose anything that comes through later. But anyways, right now we're going to go back to the Danny Welbeck situation. Before Cookie thought it was off, but now according to the likes of BBC, Sky Sports, etc., it seems to be back on. Cookie, what's the latest on that?
Well, apparently it looks like we've agreed a £16 million fee for the services of Danny Welbeck. Real mixed opinions on this one, but given the current situation, it's a fairly decent signing for us. The guy's going to bring pace, power to our attack. He's also got a bit of skill about him. He's the kind of guy that we need just to put the ball in the back of the net, really. Someone that he's still fairly young at 23 years old. I think 16 million quid. I think the actual fee is 10 million with it rising to 16 million based on silverware. But correct me on that if I'm wrong, of course. But 23 years old, soon to be 24. Obviously, the guy's got a lot of potential. I know quite a lot of Man U fans rate him fairly highly. So I think he'll work in our system really well. I mean, he offers an alternative to Giroud. I mean, it's going to be exciting when Giroud's back to see how these two will work together. Welbeck could be really prolific at Arsenal, in my opinion, but he's really got to make a name for himself at our club, and hopefully he'll be able to do that with the likes of Sanchez, Chamberlain, Walcott around him. That pace going forward should be sublime, and I'm really hoping the guy does well at Arsenal. I mean, I'm not going to judge him based on some of his Man U performances because, quite frankly, I think it's unfair to judge him before he's even put on an Arsenal shirt. So hopefully he'll be a success at Arsenal. He'll make a stepping stone path for the likes of Sonogo, who'll hopefully be able to learn a thing or two from Welbeck. And fairly decent buy, but we do definitely need to bring in a defensive midfielder. And if we can, a centre back in this last what was now 1 hour 20 minutes. So hopefully we can wrap up some deals there.
Yeah, it's getting crunch time, and just to give my thought on it, I think Welbeck is a good striker. Obviously, recently he's been noted more for his international play and having a more successful run there. He's just one of those players that needs a fresh start at Arsenal. I think that could help playing with the likes of Özil if he can get back to his form, because the game against Leicester, seeing the highlights, that was pretty poor, and I imagine Cookie can agree.
Just brushing over the Özil thing, I mean, this is another thing that's frustrating me with Wenger slightly, that we're playing people out of position. This is what I didn't get about the Leicester game. Santi Cazorla, we played him for the whole of last season on the left-hand side, and I thought, he obviously didn't reflect the kind of player that he was the previous season, but that's understandable because he was playing out wide. But I still thought he did a fairly good job for us. And then we go and play Özil in the past 2 games out wide, and I don't think he's been terrible, but he's not been the player that every single Arsenal fan expects him to be. And he's been labelled as the best number 10 in the world. I'm sure he can live up to that profile. But whilst he's being played on the left-hand side, of course we're not going to see the best out of him. I mean, it's absurd to be playing him out there. Why would you spend 42.5 million quid on one of the most talented players in the world and play him out of position? At least play Cazorla there, who is, not naturally adapted to that position, but at least he can put in a better shift there than Özil can. And I just think it would really help the cohesion of our team. But I think when we've got Walcott back, I think we are going to see Sanchez move over to that left-hand side, and we'll see maybe rotation between the likes of Cazorla, Özil, Wilshere, even Rosicky, remember, because we've got him, and hopefully we'll see those players all come in and out of that number 10 role behind the striker.
Yeah, anyways, we'll wrap it up there with Arsenal, and then now we're going to do some lesser publicized transfers. Obviously, there's been so many happening today throughout all of England and such. Let's go to Crystal Palace here quickly. We were supposed to have Jay from the Eagles speak. Apparently, technical difficulties limited that. I think he said he's sending some guys over to watch that, so thanks to him for that. Let's go to Palace. Of course, James McArthur has just signed a 3-year deal from Wigan Athletic. Cookie, with this and Friars from Spurs, do you think, obviously, Pulis going, but do you think this is a step in the right direction under Neil Warnock?
Yeah, these don't particularly strike me as Tony Pulis kind of buyers. Of course, they reflect the kind of style of football that Neil Warnock wants to play with Crystal Palace. MacArthur is a player that I rate incredibly highly. I think he's done an excellent job for Wigan for the time that he's been there. I think Palace have definitely got a good player on their hands there. Friars, I don't actually know much about this guy. Can't say I watch Tottenham Youth all that much, but I'm sure Warnock knows what he's doing, bringing in these kind of players. And if Southampton, Crystal Palace can play like they did against Newcastle with that kind of determination, I think I think they've got a good chance of staying up.
Okay, and actually, let's go to some Newcastle news. Obviously, Hatem Ben Arfa has been really in the doghouse there for almost, what, a year or more. He's being linked with everybody. Cookie, where do you think he's realistically going to go? Is he going to go anywhere? Is he just going to remain in the doghouse?
Well, I think for his own personal well-being, he's going to want to transfer out of Newcastle. I think, if he wants to improve his physique, because obviously he's been labelled as overweight recently, and obviously if he wants to improve as a person, and because he was an excellent player a couple of years ago. I remember he was a real quality player in the Premier League. Every single guy was afraid of coming up against this player, and I think he's really got to refresh his career. And I think the real favourites to get him at the moment are Hull City. I think he'd slot into that team perfectly. They thrive on pacey wingers over there. They've got that other guy. I can't quite remember his name. Is it El Mohammadi at Hull? But I think Hull would be a perfect destination for him. And of course, Hull, Steve Bruce, he has worked miracles there this summer. If you look at some of the players they've brought in Ince, they've brought in Diarmi today, brought in some absolutely fantastic players, and I think they've moved on the right kind of players, such as George Boyd, who'd moved on today, and they're really improving the calibre of their team. And you did say they were out of the Europa League, but I think they've got an excellent squad at their disposal now, one that could probably have a decent cup run and as well maintain a healthy what's the word? Keep him safe from relegation. God, I completely lost what I was going to say there. But I think Hull have got a really good team. I think Steve Bruce is doing excellently there, and I think it's really promising signs for them. And if they could get Ben Arfa, then that would just be a kind of a luxury buy to them. But he's certainly a player that I don't think they'd turn down if the price was right.
Yeah, I can't really. It really depends how Mike Ashley is in that sense. Will he want to really just go all out and be like, he's this much, or is he going to let him go for cheap? It's really hard to say. But no, Hull's done some great business, obviously, today, getting Mohamed Diame, someone I truly highly rate, and I wish Villa would somehow go after instead of Tom Cleverley, which we will come to in a little bit. Not something very underwhelming, in my opinion. But let's go to Queen's Park Rangers. Obviously, good old Harry, the good old car interviews have been avoided from what I've seen today. Nico Kranjčar is reportedly signing back with them this year, and they're linked with every Spurs player. Did you not expect that, Cookie, or what?
Nico Kranjčar, why would they want him? The guy is so unbelievably past it. QPR, they've always, when they last came up to the Premier League and they bought all those players like Esteban Granero, Junior Hoyle, they bought pretty much every name under the sun. Redknapp isn't having the same kind of approach, but I think he's buying the players that QPR require. I know they need a strike. They're in for Barini, aren't they? Or have they signed him?
If you don't know already, that's a $10 million bid that has been accepted by Liverpool, but there's no finalization of him agreeing personal terms for what I've seen. I have tweets coming in every second, so I'm not really too sure on that. But besides that, no, there really hasn't been anything. Obviously, if I was Gus Poyet, I'd be absolutely furious with that, of course.
I think if they could bring Barini in, I think that'd be a fantastic acquisition for them. I don't know how it'd really work in their outfit. I thought because he obviously proved his worth so much at Sunderland, I would have thought that was the obvious destination for them. But if you could go to QPR and emulate that form yet again, I think he'd be a really good player for QPR.
Now, obviously, they were linked with Jermaine Defoe. Obviously, that's not happening anymore. Toronto FC came out and said they're not selling him. Obviously, I live an hour away from Toronto, so if you didn't know that, they sacked, what's his first name? I don't even remember their coach's name. They sacked him today. It was rumored that Jermaine Defoe was off, but he's not. So there's another one. So you got to think that this almost has to happen now. They need another striker with Remy gone, so you kind of got to think that. They've also been linked with the likes of Lennon, among others that are just Spurs rejects under Pochettino. So, Cookie, do you see any of these Spurs rejects, I guess you can almost call them now, move to QPR?
I don't know if they're the right kind of player. I mean, they're bringing in Sandro, I believe. I think that'd be a fair decent.
That's also been linked. I'm forgetting.
Yeah, I think that'd be a decent sign for them. But I don't think buying a load of Spurs rejects, as you call them, will be the way forward for Redknapp. I mean, obviously, I think Redknapp is perfectly aware of the caliber of the players they will be bringing in. I don't think he's not a mug. He's not going to bring in the kind of players he thinks won't do a job for QPR. But You got to trust the guy. I think any players that QPR bring in from a team like Tottenham are going to be of fairly decent quality. But I think he's mainly focusing on bringing in some youth players like Friars who could do a fairly decent job there. But I think Sandro would be a really decent signing for QPR. To be honest, I would have expected him to go somewhere better. I mean, last season when Spurs fans were raving about him, calling him the Beast and all that.
Yeah.
I would have honestly thought I don't really know why he's being so overshadowed by Pochettino, because I think he's a fairly decent player.
But for QPR to get someone that can, I wouldn't say necessarily control the midfield, but someone that can go beside Barton in that kind of shut down more role where Barton can go up more, because I saw a stat the other day where Barton had the most, was it the top 3 most created chances or whatever for their team. So you got to think he needs someone to kind of let him go that, because obviously they've been conceding and not scoring. Obviously they did win on this past weekend, so I can't really say that's valid, but with the likes of Ferdinand, you need someone that has legs. Obviously, Ferdinand doesn't have his legs, so you got to think Sandro would fit them perfectly. Obviously, they still have money under their owner who is willing to spend money, but it's going to be interesting for sure. But we're going to move on. Who should we talk about next? We'll go to Everton. Obviously, they've bought Lukaku. They've got Eto'o. They've been linked with Tom Cleverley, and so have Villa. That'll be my only Villa tie for the day. The Tom Cleverley saga between Everton and Aston Villa. Cookie, do you think either team really want him? Do they need him?
Well, the issue with Cleverley is the wages. He's on what, 80 grand a week at United. What clown put that money in front of him? Because that's obviously he'll want to stay at United for the rest of his life now if he's going to be offered that kind of money. But that if he wants playing time, if he wants to improve his footballing career and be renowned as a fairly decent player in 3, 4, 5 years' time, then he's got to make a move. Because frankly, Van Gaal kind of played to see that he doesn't rate him and he's not going to include him in that squad, hence why he's brought in the likes of Daley Blind. So he's got to make a move for his own personal well-being. Cleverly, I don't rate him. I think he's a championship kind of player. But at a team like Aston Villa, Aston Villa, Sunderland, any club like that, any mid-table team, I think it improve himself as a person. I think Alan Smith, it was on Sky Sports earlier, was absolutely raving about Cleverley. The same goes for Welbeck. They were saying that because they're scapegoats at United, which in a sense they kind of deserve. Well, Cleverley deserves to be, because he's not a particularly great footballer. He doesn't work with that United style, and he's not working with the Van Gaal kind of formation. But he's a very basic player in my opinion, a very simple player, and he'd prefer to stick to more simple tactics such as a 4-4-2 or a 4-3-3 kind of formation. He's just that basic kind of holding midfield player.
But for $8 million though, $8 million,
he's not worth that. He's the kind of player that's
I'd say 4
or 5 million at the most. But it's an inflated market. We're coming into the last hour of the transfer deadline. Everyone is going to be inflating prices and is going to be trying to get the most for their players. I wouldn't be surprised if you did see him go for like 6 million, because someone like Van Gaal is just going to want to get rid of him, get as much money as possible for him, because he's a graduate, so of course they'll be making money on that. But I wouldn't be surprised if he left.
Of course, and really today there's been a lot more departures I've seen from the Premier League that I've seen in some instances. If I can find it here, obviously you had, oh God, I'm losing my mind here with all these scrolling up here. Let's see here. If you don't know, I'm on the Sky Sports website trying to go through everything. So yeah, you had Jose Canas go back to Espanyol, the likes of that. You had Marco Van Hinkel go to AC Milan on loan. They also signed Bibiani from, I think it's Palermo. Today has been one hell of a day for us here, especially with our internet troubles. And hopefully it'll be good. But of course, we still have the show at 10:30 to 11:30. Should be around that. Hope you guys enjoy that too. Can you think of any last things to really mention, Cookie?
I'm scouring around Twitter now, trying to find something. I'm looking on Sky Sports Deadline. You got Alan Smith on there having a discussion. I don't know what it is. There'll probably be more to talk about in the last hour of the deadline, to be honest. That's when things are going to start getting mental. You're going to get crazy bids being made in that time, hopefully, for the well-being of the show on here. But, hopefully there'll be some good stuff coming up.
Yeah, of course. And if you guys want to know who's on that, I can confirm that to an extent. We have Matt Harrison from Los Boyos, Swansea City fan. You guys should know good old Matt. He's been on here 2 or 3 times. Go check out his stuff. We have Dan Wellstregan, DSG, who does Back in the Net podcast. We have our one and only championship fan from Blackburn today. There's supposed to be more. It just didn't work out with their internet. And we should have, no promises, we should have LC Fans Corner, obviously Liverpool run website, and there should be Sean Whetstone from who writes about West Ham Football Club, and you could see him on various podcasts that I cannot remember the name of, and I've been on. That's probably not good. But anyways, guys, yeah, we'll see you guys back in around half an hour, 37 minutes if you want to be exact. There's basically an hour left. Hope you guys enjoyed this. Leave a like, share around. See you guys in 37 minutes, and let the transfer window roll on. You have an hour and a half.
All right, I'm gonna go and I'm